Hello guys, welcome to my top 5 romance anime. Now the kind of rules of my top 5 is that the main plot of the anime is to do with the romantic relationship, so other things can happen, so they might have a bit of action in it, or sci-fi or whatever, but the main theme, the main kind of motivation of the story is the romantic plot between the main characters. Since it's still Valentine's week, I thought I'd better get this one done, and these do not include romantic comedies because I'm going to do that for a separate top 5, because there are so many. But at number 5, we're going to have Clannad. I know I had Clannad in my top 5 anime couples, but that's for a reason, because it is a great story, and it is mainly the romantic plot, and series 1 is them first. It's kind of harem type story. He could have, there's several women he could be romantically involved with, but he ends up with this one character, Nagisa. And season 2 is the story after, which, like I said in the last one, that is rare in anime, because it sort of starts off in school. The second series is them actually trying to make the relationship actually work, and be mature adults and have work, go to work, have kids, things like that, and have and it's very interesting, and there's a bit of fantasy to it, but the main plot is romantic, and that's my number 5. Number 4 is Millennium Actress, it's hard to pronounce, by Satoshi Kon. Now it's a film, so it does a good job, obviously, because of the fact that it's only an hour and a half or whatever long, compared to a series that's got 26 episodes to develop the romantic story. So it does a really good job of making an impact on the love story, and it is a fantasy at the same time. It's the kind of memories of this lady gets confused with parts of films and things like that, and parts of her life. So it's there's a fly on my video camera lens. So if you saw that, that isn't a ghost. That is a little fly. So bugger off, fly. So it's number 4. Number 3 is Voices of a Distant Star. Now this is a half an hour short. He went on to make a couple other ones involving relationships. This one is kind of a sci-fi one. This girl goes off to fight some aliens that have attacked humans, and because of the time, because of light speed and stuff like that, their messages between each other get longer and longer, so it might be 20 years before they kind of have their next message to each other, but their kind of love still lingers, and they still love each other, even though that kind of time difference is between them. It's tragic and touching all at the same time, and since it's only half an hour long and he made it all on his own, the animation and the story and the characters, it is kind of mind-bogglingly amazing, if you think about it that way. Now number 2 is Canon, which is done by the same studio as Clannad, same kind of harem type story. He has several people he could have relationships with. Each of these stories are very interesting and touching, especially the main one. I can't really say much without spoiling the plot, but obviously a bit like Clannad, there's a bit of fantasy to it. Also, it's not dead serious, I suppose, in that way. but that's reached my number 2, and again, it's kind of, the relationships are kind of like obviously a little bit too idyllic, you know. They get on so well, no squabbling, blah 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 blah, that kind of thing. But it was still just so touching that it had to get into number 2. Number 1 is Samurai X, this is Kenshin, the Kenshin OAV. There's the live action films have made the name famous again. It was a 1990 mid-90s anime series that was like as big as Naruto type of thing. Then after that came the OAVs, and one of them was split into 2 episodes. It was called Trust and Betrayal. Now the main series the main theme wasn't the romantic plot, but in these 2 it is, and it's told in a very mature way, and it's set during the Meiji Revolution, and it's an interesting time period, and it's like I said, it's very mature. It's hard to describe without spoiling it because there's only 2 episodes, so the plot goes thick and fast. But it's one of those I am a bit biased on this one because it was one of the first anime I actually watched that was kind of more for mature audiences, rather than saying watching Pokemon and things like that. And mentioning Pokemon, I actually kind of missed out on one of my favourite couples on the last video, my top 5 anime couples. It would have to be Ash and Misty, and I forgot them. So apologies for that. So yeah, that's my top 5 there, guys. Quite a mixture of stuff, but a couple of key studio ones. And you know what? I've forgotten one. That should have been on my list. What's it called? Whispers of the Heart. Whisper of the Heart, that's what it's called. Yeah, it's a Studio Ghibli one. I was thinking about it just before I started making my list, but for some reason it completely left my mind when I was writing down the list. So apologies for that. But there's a couple other ones that didn't quite make the list. Rumbling Hearts is what it's called in English. No one calls it that. They call it by the Japanese name, and I can't off the top of my head remember what that is. It didn't make the list because it's very soap opera type love story. It's kind of melodramatic, and that's the only reason why it didn't quite make the list. Strawberry Panic was another one, and that's about lesbians, and I kind of didn't include it just because I knew my girlfriend would probably watch this and she'll probably have a go and say I'm obsessed with lesbians, which I'm not. Okay. But lesbians. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, that's my top 5, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.